Oh yeah, today, when I was, planning for the conference actually, and before I start my presentation, yeah, the conference is in Asia, let me say East Asia, but I think that it's very important not to talk only about Asia, it should be global regional, and that's why I asked my colleagues from Europe, NATO, and myself as well, and representing the Middle East, because nothing isolated in this world. So everything is built on each other. And don't tell me that if your finger is paining you, so your brain is fine. So when I show you now my concept of, let me say, impression about the Middle East, you will feel how it's very impacting everywhere. So that's why my presentation will be political and security threats and challenges to the Middle East and the impact to Asia and NATO. I will talk more about Middle East, and I will leave some more part to my NATO friends and Asian friends to talk about the impacts, but I'll give you some impression about the impacts in 2-3 slides only. We will think together and start with definitions, introduction, and then my first part of my lecture, which is general development of the political and security situation in the Middle East. Then I will talk about recent development, the recent one in particular. Then I will talk about common and true challenges. Maybe this is something new, that this common challenge everybody knows, you will see, or you can appreciate or understand, but I believe we have to look for the true challenges. That's why I will talk about it. And then the impact on NATO and Asia. Lastly, I will finish with points of consideration. You can make them recommendations or conclusions, as you wish. So why is it definitions? Because Middle East, is it just Middle East country, Gulf countries? Gulf countries, Israel, Egypt, and Jordan? Is it Afghanistan included? Is it including west part of Africa, north part, of Africa? So I will talk about Middle East as transcontinental, Asian, African, coming from west, let me say from Mauritania, going to Iran and Afghanistan to the east. And it will take from the north Turkey, I will include it, and also from the south, I will take Sudan, but not South Sudan actually. And if I talk about challenges, the difference between challenges in my concept, what I will tell you, and threats, the challenges, problems, and obstacles. Nobody intends maybe to stop you. But threats is something intended and threatful and maybe harmful. So this we'll see the difference also when I'm talking about. Maybe you can find other countries or other regional countries creating challenges to you or creating threats for you. In my introduction, after Second World War, it was a Cold War between Soviet Union and United States. I believe that the United States think we cannot be two poles in this world. So one of us must continue, the other one must take some other place in another planet. Yes, Soviet Union collapsed, as you know, after a few years from 1945, and then the United States became really the Union. And it has been in the Security Council 4 countries, which are well known: UK, France, China, and Russia. But Germany is a superpower state. So now let me say that I can understand in this group we have 1 global power and 4 superpower states, 5 superpower states, I'm sorry. The 4 permanents with the United States and the 5th one with Germany. We try to think together how to live. But at the same time, when I will show to you different regions, I saw that the world is 15 regions. 2 of them in the middle, which I believe is Middle East and North Africa. Now we are in the Far East, we have South East as well. And those 5 countries, I can say they are not divided into 2, they are divided into 3. United States, Germany, France, and UK, Russia as a part, China as another part. Why I say that? Because I'm looking from the point of view of the West, actually. They believe that Russia is an enemy. You're going to hear it many times from my native friends. But China is a competitor. And we have to see what we do together. And I think, these are good notices, it's my impression actually, that China is not known as enemy. It's not enemy here, by the way, in my opinion, it's political enemy. It's not political enemy. It's not, but it could be increased to be political. So I'll talk about, in the region, the Middle East, there are four main regional powers, and uprising one, which is Egypt right now. The four main regional powers is Turkey, Iran, Israel, and Saudi Arabia, which is the biggest one actually, and the fifth one is Egypt. Egypt usually is the regional power, but now it's getting to be more, it has influence. I believe, my personal opinion, is pushed, Egypt is pushed to be regional power, to balance, because it's surrounded with many threats, and if Egypt fails, I will come after that, we'll see. So the balance will be impossible in the future. It will take a long, long, long time to recover what occurred. And again, as I told you, the issue of Russia and China from the Western point of view. There is some considerations of global and regional power relations. Here, regional power here, I mean Middle East. You know, the United States has specific relations with Gulf countries and Egypt. It's well known. So this is one of the most important considerations to consider. Iranian nuclear agreement, the result right now, is consideration as well. U.S.-Israeli relations is separate. Even when you say about United States and Gulf relations, United States-Egyptian relations, but Israel has specific relations in the United States. For sure, the superpower states' intervention and regional power state role in the region. They have their own interests in the region, and this, for sure, let me say, justify a little bit in the relation between them and this region, and the current political and security situation which is going on. It's very important impact and effect. On my point of view, I selected some countries, and I try to think how should be their strategic objectives or goals, let me say goals. And if I start with the global one, which is United States. 100%, I believe that United States possibly would like to maintain their own global power. No one else with me. I'm alone here to impose my will. Because its strategies and policies is built on that. And to do it, it has, I think, some strategies. They are, related to each other. But the most important one, I have to underline, block three main countries in their place: China, Russia, and North Korea. And this, and you will see in my lecture that if we don't have influence in the Middle East, which I call it the buffer zone between the United States and Central and East Asia part. If I have influence as the United States in this area and don't give any opportunity to have influence, so I will continue as your did the thinking. Russia, opposite. They think same way. And they said, okay, if I have influence in the Middle East, influence in Central Asia, and East Asia as well, then I can undermine the United States' current situation. And that's why Russia would like to come back again as a counterpart. I talked to some American friends, and one of them told me, this politician, we don't consider Russia anymore even our state, global our state. So Russia, that's why Russia is caring about Syria very much right now. It's caring about Iran, situation there. It's caring about Yemen. Because if they don't have anything, caring about Egypt as well. They have agreements with them. and even they start providing Egypt with weapons more and more. Even when President Sisi was Minister of Defense, he received some from them, with many agreements actually. Because Putin believed, if I don't have my bases there, how can I impose my influence? And if I don't have my influence, how can I be global power again or a counterpart to the United States? Iran. I noticed about Iran something very, really important. All countries around Iran are fighting each other. What you call it? Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, but Iran is stable inside politically and security, I can say. Politically, they have some problems, everybody knows, but in security and defense, they are stable inside. But they are very caring about, now the agreement, I believe, this is my opinion, it's against their will. They didn't achieve what they want, all of what they want. But for sure and 100%, and even I was discussing with General Samir yesterday, they will try to retain, to restore some of their nuclear power in the future, anyhow. But they want to be, nuclear power for a specific reason. As far as I know, it's peaceful nuclear power. It's not weapon in Iran. But I'm sure that Iran would like to have the nuclear weapon as well in the future, maybe not now, because you must face India and Pakistan east and Israel to the west. They have nuclear weapons, and you would like to be in the middle as the balance of these bigger areas, transcontinental, between the both continents. Turkey. Turkey is very interesting to me, actually. I don't believe that Turkey is thinking anymore to be a member of the European Union that fast. I believe they would like to have a big role among Europe and the Middle East. Then you will need me, I will not need you. I think so. You would like to say to the European Union, one day you will need me, not I will need you in the future as I did before. That's why they try to enhance their standard and policies on international rules and standards. They do it very well. And everybody knows, if you read about Turkey, they increase the economy very quickly. But at the same time, this internal terrorism like Kurdish, because they are considered, they are proscribed, by the way, let me say, Homeland Security in the UK. And they think, okay, we'll have zero problem, we'll finish all problems, but still they have problems with everybody, even more. They didn't have problems with Israel, now they have problems with Israel. They didn't have problems with Egypt, now they have problems with Egypt. And the biggest mistake that Turkey has fought on to adopt the Islamic project to rule the Middle East. That was the biggest mistake, actually. But anyway, they think that they aim to consolidate its regional influence in Eastern Europe, particularly, and in the Middle East, and to have the link between these two regions. It's very important to Turkey, I think. And that's why we would like to be a tube of the gas, not coming from Russia, maybe coming from Qatar, which is the best or the most important ally to Turkey. Israel. Israel, specifically, you would like to be the unique power in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia is getting very strong, but now, there was no relation between Saudi Arabia and Israel before. No relation. No bad relation, no good relation. But now it's starting to be more related to each other because of Iran. Egypt has a relation with Israel. It's 1979 agreement, the peace agreement between both countries. So it's not new to us. But Israel, as I told you, if you look at Iran now, and they try to make it as a unified enemy to them and to Saudi Arabia, and I think this story is succeeding. Okay, I will now move to, move to the second part, with general development of the political security situation in the Middle East. I checked in the internet. I tried to find suitable map to tell you what is the general development of the political situation in the Middle East, and I found only this map. It's like that. Seriously, nobody can understand anything. Even our specialist in the Middle East, Giuseppe, he cannot explain us what's the Middle East going on. How is Middle East going on? Maybe he will do it. Anyway, I tried to summarize it like that. Very honestly. Nobody can deny that the Middle, some, not all, some of the Middle East countries were really in trouble last decades. Corruption increased. Failure of managing the countries increased. Economically, unemployment, inflation. It wasn't easy to control because now we are increasing population in some countries, but you don't offer them the good jobs. You don't offer them the good life. Even the simple life of dignity, you can offer them. Politically, ethnic and sectarian disputes started with disputes and became conflicts. So you see that this upgrading decade by decade, and nobody did anything. And then that facilitated the foreign external, foreign intervention, trying to do something. The problem was that it wasn't very compatible, the understanding between the external intervention and the Middle Eastern situation. So it became worse, actually. And that's why it collapsed. Because the leaders of this area became very weak. She couldn't control for a long time. And if you think short, for the long term, you are lost. No way. And ended up like that, Arab Spring. I don't like to talk as conspiracy or not conspiracy, it's an issue, but what I'm saying, this is the result, whatever the reason. Because of the leaders, because of the people of Middle Eastern countries, because of the foreign external intervention, because of the weakening of the leaders, whatever, this is the Arab Spring. 5 main countries, Tunisia, Egypt, Yemen, Syria, and Libya. 2 of them have civil war, or 3 of them, have civil war, which is Syria, Libya, and Yemen. Tunisia is getting better, Egypt is getting better, but the other 3. Some other countries were very small, like Jordan, Kuwait, Mauritania, I remember, and all Gulf countries maybe. It was very minor for this, but the leaders were very small. Changing, reforming very quickly, okay, done. Then, the repercussions of the Arab Spring. Did it succeed? Okay, I was happy with this revolution, to be honest. I was happy. I need change. But what is the result? Yeah. You can read about all these countries right now. They try to stabilize the situation. They try to get it better. But I think maybe because, if you remember, I mentioned something about Turkey before, that they imposed the Islamic project in the Middle East. The problem, not in Islam, not in Christianity, not in Buddhism, not in Hinduism. The problem is to make this mix with the policy. You have to be God, but you are not. Then this makes really very bad result impacting to you. And this is what's going on now. You are increase. That's why you see that 2 main common threats came, which is civil wars and terrorism. Okay, let me continue to this one, which is the situation. Believe it or not, 67 terrorist groups in the Middle East right now, starting only from 2014. 31 of them are only in this part, which I talked about. They start from 2010, I'm sorry. 17 of them, they have been appeared in 2014. So terrorism increased, as you see in this this area this way. Some of them, they are ISIS. Some of them are not ISIS, but affiliated. Some of them related to ISIS. So what happened after that? We found that two coalitions started to fight. One of them, which is against ISIS in Syria and Iraq, and the other one against Houthis in Yemen. All of them supported by NATO. I mean, not NATO, maybe in some part of them, but anyways, they're supported by the European Union and supported by the United States and Arabic as well. In the Gulf area, so Iran and Saudi Arabia are the main enemies now. Even Iran has declared weapons. A few weeks ago, did declare Saudi Arabia is our main enemy. And there are some other, as states or as pro groups assisting both countries against each other, as you can see. So Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, Yemen, and Gulf countries are on the same side. But on the other side, politically, I'm not talking militarily for sure, you can find the Syrian regime, Iraq, and Iran. As Egyptian, I can tell you frankly, Egypt was not with any side of them. But Egypt is very caring about stability in Syria, because it's made a balance if something happens in the place. This is, I think, the last updated situation of ISIS I could get, which has been taken 23rd of August 2016. They have been shrunk a little bit, not like before, but not very much shrunk, but they have been shrunk. Some of them by Russian strikes, some of them by American and Allied strikes, but anyway, they have been more reduced in their influence in the areas. In Yemen, Houthis, I can say they are defeated. But at the same time, they are very stubborn. They're still taking some part. And big pressure against them is taken even by the current governmental Yemen, which are fighting with them, supported with Arab coalition headed by Saudi Arabia. But they discovered that the Qatar is over there. Not discovered, it's known that the Qatar is over there. And the Qatar is now another enemy facing the coalitions, fighting with it. In Libya, yeah, ISIS was great, but now they became more used as well. And so it will be taken very soon, I think. And the Libyan forces, which is the governmental forces, could make some success. There is some intervention, as a new Iraqi war, by the French forces on the ground and some other American forces. But the big intervention is not happening yet. Anyhow, it's very difficult in Libya. There are 3 teams on the west side of Egypt, but it's very difficult. It's not stable, so terrorism will continue for a longer time. Now, I go maybe to the last part, which is common and true challenge and threats. Terrorism is one of the most important common challenges. Civil war for sure. And as I told you, we have 3 civil wars, which is Libya, Yemen, and in Syria. And they are extending very quickly. They are depending on sectarian disputes among all parts. Weapons, and weapon traffic is a common thing. And in addition to that, refugees and illegal immigration. It's very important, it's increasing right now. And even controlled refugees need importance in Europe. And that's why they're taking to think, they're starting to think how to handle the situation in a better way. Before now I go to the, as I told you, the 2 threats from my point of view. But what is the reason of the terrorism? What is the reason of the civil war? What is the reason of all of that? I can make them in 3 sections: internal reasons, regional reasons, and external reasons. So, bad governance is a threat. The true threat is a bad governance. It's not terrorism. It's not civil war. If you have good governance, you can avoid all of that. I believe that. And bad governance here, it means that your government should be successful and not corrupted, both together. If you work on that, all nations are. And I can give you some, I'm living in the United Arab Emirates, and nobody of them hear me now. You don't have exceptions. No exceptions. Everybody is the same. Sheikh or even a very simple guy from India or Bangladesh came to work in their country. And that's why they give them stability and long term. I think the second one is the inability of implementing the standards. What you call it, by law, by the way, government and people, both of them, the standards and international political, security, economic, social, and organizational laws and standard properly. If you enhance your standards in everything, which you say, do it as a manual. Do it as a manual. Don't try to make exception. Don't try to break the rule. Don't try to break the queue. Do it as a manual. Your machine will work for a longer time. If you don't do it, you are creating threat to yourself. Second, which is regional challenges and threats. I believe that there's two main issues: regional conspiracy and negative regional reaction. Regional conspiracy is well known, I think, in political affairs that some countries, they have some conspiracy against such a country or some other countries. They try to create threats and challenge to them, and really it's a threat, and you have to deal with that. And the second one is a negative reaction. Like what happened with Greece with this crisis before, and I found all Europe, whatever happened, sometimes getting better, sometimes getting worse, but anyway, they work together to make it okay, to make it fine. So this should be the positive action. If you don't do it this way, so the nation which you left in trouble will be in more trouble, and then it will be like earthquake. It will extend very quickly to the other countries in the regions. So positive action is very important. Negative action is a threat. Then international China threats. I believe there are two main threats. The first one is international or regional isolation or division. Tweaking the target state leads to dependence on the isolating powers. I mean, let me say, for example, okay, I will make Taiwan more isolated. I will isolate Taiwan and make it more isolated. And then Taiwan has two options: to surrender, wait, or to depend on me. This, for example, just to give you an example. I will make Egypt isolated from this area and the region more and more, then with external intervention in me. And that's very important. There is some other intervention, which is by agreements. And even though maybe the country was making this, like, let me say the United States. So the United States would like to intervene in situations in the Middle East, even by their request. Suppose the United States has bad intention during intervention too. Not only to do with their interest, but they have something more, so a threat. But the other threat that maybe I intervene with, that's political. I have good intention with you, I would like to build up your country, but at the same time, I don't understand your culture. I don't understand the gap between us was a very big gap. And then I ask you to improve and be strong beside me and so on. Then really, it's a big problem. Finally, the impacts, from my opinion, in very brief. I will not talk about this much to give my colleagues opportunity on NATO and Asia. Main terrorist operations in Belgium, Germany, France, and Turkey and they are members of NATO. And don't tell me they didn't come from the Middle East. And this is very strong impact to NATO, because they are NATO countries. And NATO is a strong, as a weapon, is an arm to defend their members. NATO Mediterranean dialogue and also Istanbul Cooperation Initiative countries. As I believe, it's academic relation. So I think could be transferred to more than that. Impact on Asia. In Philippines, the terrorists might happen. They discover they are belong to ISIS. Some terrorist groups in Indonesia, they declare they are pledging to ISIS, affiliated to them. And some others to Al-Qaeda, right? And these, which I described to you, that the Middle East come from Iran, Afghanistan, up to Britannia. So I think this impact from this part to Asia as well. That's why I say not all of them even from Central Asia, but some of them from the Middle East. Now, if I go to conclusions and points of considers, I believe that democracy is always the right solution, which leads to stability. But there wouldn't be no true stability without having strong defense and security, but it's belonging to the country. Political and military coalitions at regional and international levels are the perfect choices, but your country have to be compatible enough for them. Definitely coalition to tear your current enemy, but some of them may add more enemies to you. Very important. Your current challenges and threats shouldn't be there if you could have defeated the true ones, which I talked about. You cannot be ready in corner position, your action position, so you have to be ready in your reaction corner. And that's why, very general conditions. We have to have, I think, because of this impact, which I talked about, to Asia and NATO, why not to enhance the Afro-Asian, everything, Afro-Asian culture, activities, Afro-Asian sports activities, let the youth meet each other as we are meeting here now. You understand us, we understand you. So we will work together sometime to stop the threats before they start, not even to counter the threats. Also, enlarging security and intelligence cooperation, especially on NATO level, Middle East and Asian countries, with clear methods and programs. This strategy, I think, needed all the heads I talked about. How to do it together. Mutual, and I think Mr. Lemu will talk about some programs in intelligence cooperation, and it will be clear for us. So mutual, information and intelligence operations is very important. Not only inside the Middle East, not only inside NATO, not only inside Asia, but maybe all together. And this is all from my side. Thank you very much.